All right. Welcome, everyone, to Learn English with Podcast. I'm your host, and today we're diving into something incredibly practical and useful: 75 essential English phrases for your daily life. Now, learning a language isn't just about understanding grammar rules or memorizing endless vocabulary lists. It's about being able to communicate comfortably and confidently in real-world situations. That's where these everyday phrases come in. Think of them as your toolkit for navigating all sorts of interactions, from the moment you wake up to when you say goodnight. We're going to go through these phrases step by step, and I'll explain when and how you can use them. Don't worry about memorizing them all at once. Just listen, try to understand the context, and maybe even repeat them out loud. The more you hear and use these phrases, the more natural they'll become. So, let's get started, shall we? Starting your day. The first few moments after you wake up often involve the same routines. Here are some phrases you might use. Good morning. A simple and universal greeting for the start of the day. You can say this to anyone. I slept well, thank you. If someone asks you how you slept, you can also say, I didn't sleep very well, if that's the case. It's time to get up. A phrase you might say to yourself or to someone you live with. I need to brush my teeth. A statement about your morning routine. I'm going to make some coffee, tea. Sharing your immediate plans after waking up. What's the weather like today? A common question to start a conversation or plan your day. It looks like it's going to be a sunny, rainy, or cloudy day. Your observation about the weather. I'm feeling a bit tired this morning. Expressing how you feel at the start of the day. I'm looking forward to today. Expressing a positive outlook for the day ahead. What are my plans for today? A question you might ask yourself as you organize your thoughts. Getting ready and leaving the house. Once you're up, you'll probably go through your getting ready routine and eventually head out the door. Here are some useful phrases for this part of the day. I'm getting dressed. Letting someone know what you're doing. Where are my keys? Phone, wallet. Common questions we all ask ourselves. I'm ready to go. Signaling that you're prepared to leave. Let's go! A more enthusiastic way to say you're ready to leave. Are you ready? Asking someone else if they're prepared to leave. I need to lock the door. A reminder to yourself or someone else. Have a good day. A polite farewell as you leave. See you later. A casual way to say goodbye, implying you'll meet again. Bye for now. Another informal way to say goodbye. Take care. A friendly and slightly more caring way to say goodbye. And we're just getting started. We have so many more useful phrases to cover, from asking for information to expressing your opinions. Stick with me and you'll be equipped to handle a wide range of everyday English conversations with confidence. We'll continue right after a short pause. Making a request. This is one of the most common things you'll do. Instead of just stating what you want, using a phrase makes it sound much more polite. Could you pass the salt, please? A polite way to ask for something at a dinner table. Would you mind helping me? A very polite request for assistance, even more so than, could you please help me? Can I have a glass of water? A direct but polite request, often used in a restaurant or cafe. I would like to order a pizza. A more formal way of requesting something, often used in phone calls or at a counter. Do you mind if I open the window? Asking for permission to do something. Is it okay if I sit here? Another way to politely ask for permission. Could you tell me what time it is? A polite way to ask for information. I'm looking for a jacket in a size medium. Used in a store when you need to find a specific item.
I was wondering if you could help me with this. A very gentle and polite way to ask for a favor. Could you explain that again? A crucial phrase when you don't understand something. Expressing opinions and ideas. Part of a real conversation is sharing your thoughts. Here are some phrases to help you do just that. I think that's a good idea. Sharing a positive opinion. In my opinion, we should... A more formal way to introduce your viewpoint. What do you think? A question to ask for someone else's opinion. I agree with you. Expressing that you share someone's opinion. I'm not sure about that. A gentle way to express disagreement or doubt. I don't think that's a good idea. A direct way to disagree. That's a great point. A phrase to acknowledge and appreciate someone's idea. I see what you mean. Acknowledging that you understand someone's point even if you don't agree with it. To be honest, A phrase you can use to give your sincere, unfiltered opinion. It seems to me that... A phrase to introduce a thoughtful opinion or observation. We've already covered so much and you're doing great. We have 25 more phrases to go, and they'll focus on handling problems, saying goodbye, and expressing emotions. Remember, the more you use these phrases, the more comfortable they'll become. Stay tuned. We've gone from waking up to making requests and expressing opinions. Now, let's talk about the final set of phrases that will help you handle problems, express emotions, and gracefully end a conversation. These are the phrases that make you sound like a truly confident and empathetic speaker. Handling problems and difficult situations. Unfortunately, not every interaction is smooth. Here are some polite ways to navigate minor problems. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. A simple apology. You can also say, my apologies. There seems to be a problem. A way to politely point out an issue. Could you tell me how to get to the nearest post office? Asking for directions. I'm afraid I can't make it to the meeting. A polite way to decline an invitation or explain your absence. I don't feel well today. A direct way to say you're sick or unwell. I need to reschedule our appointment. A polite way to change plans. Excuse me, but I think you've made a mistake on the bill. A very polite way to point out an error. I'm looking for the manager. A phrase to use when you need to speak with someone in charge. Is there anything you can do to help me? A polite way to ask for a solution to your problem. Thank you for your patience. Expressing gratitude to someone who has waited for you or dealt with the problem patiently. Expressing emotions and feelings. Being able to share how you feel is a vital part of connecting with others. I'm so happy to see you. Expressing joy. I'm so excited about the trip. Expressing enthusiasm. That's so disappointing. Expressing sadness or disappointment. I'm a little bit nervous about the test. Expressing anxiety. I'm tired. A simple statement about your physical state. I'm feeling much better now. A positive update on how you feel. I'm so grateful for your help. Expressing strong gratitude. I can't believe it. A phrase to express surprise or disbelief. I'm looking forward to it. Expressing anticipation for a future event. I'm really proud of you. Expressing a positive emotion towards someone else. Saying goodbye and wrapping up. Finally, let's learn how to end conversations gracefully. It was nice talking to you. A polite way to end a conversation with someone you just met. I have to go now. A direct way to excuse yourself. I'll catch you later. A very casual way to say goodbye to a friend. Have a nice evening, afternoon, or weekend. a polite farewell that wishes them well for the rest of their day. See you soon, a friendly and optimistic way to say goodbye. And there you have it, 75 essential English phrases for your daily life. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, but to be understood and to communicate with confidence. Practice these phrases, use them in your daily life, and you'll find that your English skills will feel more natural in no time.
We've just seen how essential phrases can be used in a simple conversation. But now, I want to move on to something that's just as important as the words themselves, the music of the language. I'm talking about intonation and pronunciation. You can know all the right words, but if you say them with a flat, robotic tone, it can be very difficult for people to understand you. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. It's what gives English its rhythm and helps to convey meaning and emotion. Think of it as a melody. For example, say the phrase, "You're going to the store?" with a rising tone at the end. It's a question, right? But if you say, "You're going to the store" with a flat or falling tone, it sounds like a statement. The words are exactly the same, but the meaning is completely different. This is a simple but powerful example of how intonation works. So, how can you improve your intonation and pronunciation? Here are a few things you can do. 1. Listen and imitate. The best way to learn the music of English is to listen to native speakers. This is where podcasts, movies, and TV shows become your best friends. Pay close attention to how a person's voice rises when they're excited or asking a question, and how it falls when they're making a statement. When you find a sentence you like, pause the audio and try to repeat it, matching the intonation as closely as you can. 2. Practice with question words. Questions are a great place to start. For yes-no questions, like, "Are you ready?" the voice almost always rises at the end. For questions that start with words like who, what, where, or when, the voice usually falls at the end. Practice saying, "Where are you going?" and notice how your voice naturally goes down. 3. Use the power of stress. In English, we put emphasis, or stress, on certain words in a sentence to highlight what's important. For example, if you say, "I love this song," you're emphasizing your strong feeling. But if you say, "I love this song," you're emphasizing that it's you who loves the song, maybe in contrast to someone else. Paying attention to the stress will make your speech sound more natural and expressive. Learning intonation is a lot like learning to play a musical instrument. It takes practice, but once you start to get the hang of it, you'll find that your English sounds more fluent and confident, and people will understand you with a lot more ease. We've just discussed the importance of intonation and pronunciation, the music of the English language. Now let's talk about the instruments themselves, building and activating your vocabulary. You might find that when you read a book or listen to a show, you understand most of the words. You know what they mean, but when it's your turn to speak, those words just disappear from your mind. That's a very common experience, and it highlights the difference between your passive vocabulary and your active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary is all the words you recognize and understand when you hear or read them. It's the "I know that word, I've seen it before" part of your brain. Active vocabulary is the set of words that you can recall and use naturally when you're speaking or writing. These are the words that come to you automatically. The goal isn't just to learn more words. It's to move words from your passive vocabulary into your active one. So, how do you make this happen? Strategies for activating your vocabulary. First and foremost, the most important rule is that context is king. Just looking up a word in a dictionary is not enough. You need to see and hear the word in a sentence. When you find a new word, don't just write down its definition. Write down the full sentence you found it in. This helps your brain understand how the word is used in a real situation. Second,
Let's try a simple but powerful exercise I call the three-use rule. For every new word you learn, try to use it 3 times in your own sentences within 24 hours. The first time, it might feel a little awkward. The second time, it will be a little easier. By the third time, you've started to form a connection between the word and your own thoughts. You could use it in a conversation with a friend, write it down in a journal, or even just say it to yourself while you're making coffee. The goal is to make a conscious effort to produce the word yourself. Third, a great way to make words stick is to learn them in themed sets. Instead of a random list of 100 words, try focusing on a specific topic for a week. If you love to cook, learn all the words for different cooking methods. For example, to sauté, to simmer, to braise. If you're into technology, learn the words for different components or processes. For example, to debug, an algorithm, a firewall. When words are related to each other, they're much easier to remember and recall because your brain has a logical place to store them. And finally, my favorite tool for this is a vocabulary journal. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a simple notebook. When you hear or read a new word, write it down. Then look up its meaning and write that down. Next, write your own sentence using the word. This active process of writing will help you solidify the word in your mind and move it from your passive to your active vocabulary. Remember, vocabulary is not a finish line. It's an ongoing journey. The goal is to build a rich and varied collection of words that you can use comfortably to express yourself in any situation.
We've just discussed the difference between passive and active vocabulary and some great strategies for moving words from one category to the other. Now, as we begin to slowly wrap things up, I want to leave you with the most important lesson of all: the power of consistent practice. You see, all the phrases, all the intonation techniques, and all the vocabulary building strategies we've talked about today are just tools. They are useless unless you pick them up and use them every single day. Learning a language is not a destination you arrive at. It's a journey you embark on every morning. Think of it like a muscle. You can read every book about exercise, you can know all the names of the exercises, but unless you actually go to the gym and lift the weights, you will never get stronger. The same is true for English. A few minutes of practice every day is far more effective than a long study session once a week. It's the consistency that builds the neural pathways in your brain and makes the language feel natural. So, my final piece of advice is to find a way to make English a small, non-negotiable part of your daily life. Maybe it's listening to 5 minutes of a podcast while you make coffee. Maybe it's speaking one new phrase to a friend. Maybe it's writing 3 sentences in your journal before bed. Just find something and stick with it, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Remember, this is about progress, not perfection. Embrace your mistakes, celebrate your small victories, and never lose your curiosity. The more you use English, the more it becomes a part of you. This brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. We've covered so much, from essential phrases for daily life to building your confidence and vocabulary. I truly hope you found this useful. If you enjoyed this podcast and found it helpful, please consider giving it a like and leaving a comment below. It helps us know what kind of content you want to see more of. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking. Goodbye for now.